My name's Ken Lorenz. I'm the Director of Sales and Alliances at Riva CRM Integration. I'm going to make sure we pay homage to our sponsors today. So what I'm looking to talk to you today about is how collaborative systems and CRM systems work together and how they need to work together in the future. And how Riva helps kind of bring and bridge some of that stuff together for us. At the end of the day, almost any organization that we run into is talking about customer relationship management, right? Whether it's traditional manufacturing company, distributors, banking especially, it's coming up a lot. I mean, the stickiness or lack thereof of banks keeping their customers is a huge issue. But at the end of the day, CRM is becoming a big topic for everybody, and it's a big topic if you're using Lotus Notes and Domino. And we'll get into some of the reasons around that. But at the end of the day, well, why is CRM such a big topic? Well, we're in the age of the customer. Now, I'm just curious, when have we not been in the age of the customer, right? We've always wanted to take care of our customers. I think the real point here is the age of the customer, really meaning the customer's got the ability to learn a lot more about us and our products and our services before they ever interact with us as people, right? And so in order for us to differentiate ourselves and provide that value, we've got to be really smart about what we learn about our customers, and especially if multiple people in our organization share that information about a customer, we gain corporate knowledge about what's going on. So CRM ends up becoming the hub, if you will, of today's business, amongst other tools like collaboration tools. Social selling becomes a huge issue, whether you're in a B2C environment or a B2B environment or a B2B2B. I mean, it all gets goofy, right? But at the end of the day, social comes into play, and not just with somebody being upset about what happened on an airline flight, right? And ultimately, whether you're in a B2B or a B2C environment, companies really invest in CRM to do one thing: help connect the dots, right? Help bring everything in our organization together to serve the customer. So why am I talking about this? What's the problem, right? And what's the problem, especially relative to Lotus Notes and Domino and CRM? Well, today, if you're running CRM and you've been using it for a while, you probably recognize it's not the one view of the truth, right? We've got emails and calendar items in Lotus Notes that we're not sharing with CRM. Right? We've got information that we're just not moving across. Well, why? I mean, it seems like it'd be really simple, right? I need to contribute to CRM, but why? Well, one thing is we don't always live in CRM, right? I mean, yes, there are inside sales reps and call center folks they've got CRM up on their three displays all at the same time. They're living in CRM all day. That's great. But a lot of us are road warriors. Right? We're out, we're meeting with customers, we're out of our home offices. Where do we really live? I mean, a lot of us, we live in Lotus Notes, right? We're in our email day in and day out. And it makes it more difficult to kind of move that stuff over. Reality, some people are lazy, right? I mean, the last thing a sales rep wants to do after they've worked a 10 or 12-hour day is then take another hour to transcribe everything that happened and all their interactions that are in email back into CRM. Nobody wants to do that. And frankly, there are technologies that are out there that have been out there for a while that, try to help move that data back and forth, but a lot of that technology in the past hasn't been that good. Frankly, that's a part of the reason why we're in business today, is we chose to solve this problem and solve it in a meaningful way and in a scalable way. So how do we solve the problem? Well, there's two things that we really do at Riva, and we do very well. The first thing we do is synchronize data between the email system and the CRM system, right? So when and I've got a slide in a little bit here where I'll go into more detail, but it's the basics is where you start: email, calendar items, tasks, contacts. But it isn't just about that. It's also about surfacing some of that data that lives in CRM and make it available to you in your email platform so you can better serve the customer. So when our customers think about synchronizing, the three things they think about the most is, number one, is it easy for my employees to use, right? You can have the best sync tool in the world, but if it's complicated and people have to get trained how to use it, they're not going to use it. It's got to be scalable, right? most customers that I've met that use Lotus Notes and run Domino are larger organizations, right? You talk about people that are using it in the hundreds and thousands of users, not fives and tens. It's got to be able to scale, and it's got to have some flexibility too in terms of how you configure it, what the business rules are that go into that synchronization. So those are all important things. The other thing that we do, and I'll talk about this on the end, is connecting the dots, providing what I'll call relationship intelligence. There's a gazillion terms out there in the market right now, right? Relationship analytics, cognitive analytics, prospect analytics. I mean, there's all kinds of different terms that are out there, but at the end of the day, what is it? It's about being smarter about our customers and ultimately being able to connect those dots faster than my competitor does. Make sense? All right, so let me talk a little bit about sync and a little bit about kind of where we came from. So our mandate since 2008 really was, number one, help our customers, Notes customers, overcome the challenges of, frankly, lesser technology solutions. Without going into a lot of technical detail, there's two ways you can do synchronization. One way is you load something like an add-in in Lotus Notes at the client level, and it talks to the CRM on the person's desktop, and that's great, but the but is somebody has to go out and touch every laptop or every desktop to install it. Those users have the ability to install other things that might conflict with the client-side plugins, and ultimately they become fragile, right? And when it becomes fragile and it only works some of the time, then it doesn't work any of the time because nobody uses it, right? It's a very simple equation. We've tackled it as a server-side integration, so we talk directly to Domino, and that provides some significant benefits that I'll talk about in a minute. By doing this, what are we doing? We're really increasing the adoption rate of CRM, right? Physically implementing CRM and installing it or giving people logins isn't adoption, right? That's installation. Getting them to really use it and add value to the organization is adoption, and we help that because we're giving people the ability to contribute to CRM without even logging into it. And the other thing that we wanted to do was we knew things like, even 8 years ago, things like mobile and web-based front ends were something that needed to be supported, but those client-side add-ins only worked with, a local client server app like a Notes client. So we wanted to solve all those things. So how are we doing? So 8 years later, we've got north of 1,200 businesses, companies that are using our technology to synchronize their email and CRM systems. We're in a subscription model, so we measure our success based on retention rate, right? We've got greater than 90% retention rate, which is fantastic in the industry. The industry standard is more like 85 to 80%. We're significantly higher than that, and we think it's because we're doing a great job for our customers. We've got customers of all shapes and sizes, large companies, small companies, across a number of different industries. Where we happen to do really well is around banking and financial services. And there's a kind of a specific reason for that. We didn't do anything vertically or industry specific about our product, but banks, as an example, have a compliance issue where they have to archive those conversations with customers, otherwise they run into big problems. And so they need something reliable, scalable. And so 15 of the world's largest banks use our product. A number of Fortune 500s are using our product. So that's really typically where we've done well, but honestly, we can help anybody that's got Lotus Notes and CRM, right? Which is a lot of the world out there. So I talked about this a little bit, kind of what's our secret sauce. On the CRM side of things, we're supporting the major CRM products that are out there. If you're using a CRM product that you don't see up there, we've got what we call Riva for Developers, which would allow you or a partner or us to develop a one-off integration to a CRM system or a custom CRM system you've developed internally, really any system of record. But again, our special sauce is that server-to-server synchronization, right? So we're talking directly to Domino, we're talking directly to CRM. Nothing's happening on your desktop or on your phone. So as a Notes user, this is great news, because whatever I'm using to access Notes, right? Traveler, Verse, Notes, etc. We're supporting all of these things because we're integrating with Domino, right? And it doesn't matter on the client side. From a device standpoint, we don't care, right? You can be on Windows, you can be on a Mac, you can be on a web terminal, you can be on Citrix, you can be on a mobile device. Again, it doesn't matter because of the domino integration. When you think about synchronization of CRM and email, you think about the basic blocking and tackling, right? Emails, contacts, calendars, tasks, that's all great. We're syncing those bidirectionally on top. But then we go a little bit further and we start actually surfacing data from CRM in the email system. So things like opportunities or cases or other custom objects that you might have in your CRM, we surface that. Not on this slide, many companies that use Domino have Domino databases, separate databases you've developed. We can integrate those Domino databases with CRM and keep them in sync. So same thing, contacts, right? I've got contacts in my public address book that I want to synchronize to CRM. The way you choose which ones you sync to CRM is simply by categorizing them with a category that we've created, in this case, CRM. Once I categorize that, now that's going to synchronize back and forth to CRM bidirectionally. If I've got my dentist or my doctor or whoever in my public address book, I'm not sure why you would want to do that instead of your private address book, but let's just say it's there. You can choose to not categorize that as CRM, and it's not going to sync to CRM. But you get the idea, right? So same thing, calendar items. I categorize calendar items. One thing that we recommend as a best practice is that you sync all calendar items, but give the user the option to either take the category off or click it as private. So if I'm looking at somebody's calendar and they've got a doctor's appointment, they might not want to know that I've got a doctor's appointment, but they do want the space blocked in CRM. And so we do that. In fact, around calendars, we do this extremely well. So what's the most complex scenario that you can think of? Recurring meetings with people in my company, customers, other people, right? You know, a big group, and it's recurring meetings, and they change all the time. With Riva, I can make those changes in my notes calendar, I can make those changes in CRM, and both of them reflect back and forth cleanly. And that's a hard one to do. Syncing email isn't as tough. Syncing calendar items is really tough. But you get the idea. Calendars, appointments. I'm just going to kind of roll through this a little bit. Opportunities, and this is just an example. So if I click on the opportunities folder that we create, what I'm seeing is what looks like emails in that folder. And they're technically, I guess they'd be considered email records. But when you look at the record, what we've done is we've taken data from CRM and we've put it in this record. And we've also put hyperlinks in this record so that I can, if I need to look at information about this particular opportunity and I don't have access to my CRM, maybe I'm sitting on an airplane, I can get to some of this detail. If I want to go click on that record and take me right to CRM to go edit it, I can do that. And that's true for cases and custom objects and so on. So it's something of real value, again, for the person sitting in their email. We talked about synchronization. Let's talk about connecting the dots. In today's day of instantaneous gratification, the fewer clicks I have to make to get to the information, the better. And if there's too many clicks, maybe I give up and don't bother doing the research, right? So we've got a product we call Riva Insight. What Riva Insight is meant to do is give me one click to relevance, right? So what does that look like in a Lotus Notes environment? So what we do is we create this side panel, and what you'll notice is, and I know the graphics are a little bit small, we'll put all the slides up on SlideShare afterwards, but I'm looking at an email from Abe Alexson. That's what I've got highlighted. By doing that, Riva Insight is bringing up information from CRM about phone numbers, about upcoming meetings, current interactions, not just that I've had, but whoever in my organization has had with Abe. I'm seeing all that right here. But we start to take that a few steps further. So as an example, we've got an integration with a product called Inside View. Is anybody familiar with Inside View? It's similar to Dun & Bradstreet, so it's kind of an external data service. That's bringing me information about this account from a public source that I can compare to what I've got in my CRM and make sure those are synchronizing. I mentioned, looking at it from a contact perspective and seeing different interactions that are taking place. But we take it a step further. So Marketing automation. Is anybody running a marketing automation tool in their business? Unica, Marketo, Pardot, names that are not familiar? HubSpot, great example. We happen to have an integration with Marketo, and we've then taken that integration and put that into Riva Insight. So I'm on an email from Rick Shapiro, and Insight is giving me that breadth of information, but now I'm seeing how has Rick interacted with our website, right? What interesting moments have occurred that might cause me to pick up the phone and call Rick and say, hey, I noticed you were blah, blah, blah. But this starts to become a much more mature platform. So we've got an integration with another partner that was here at the conference called TrustSphere. TrustSphere does relationship analytics. So it tries to determine how strong a relationship individuals have with each other, not based on whether they're connected on LinkedIn, but based on how often and how quickly they respond to each other over email. It's usually a pretty good indicator. The use case, there's a number of use cases, but one of the use cases here is I want to connect to Rick Shapiro. Who in my organization has the best relationship with Rick that can connect me? And that's what TrustSphere does, amongst a lot of other things. Another quick example, we've got an integration with a product called Matrix Place. Think about this as almost route mapping for salespeople that do a lot of client visits in a day, right? They might meet 10 clients in a day, and they need to see graphically where a client is, but where all their clients are. If a particular client decides not to take an appointment, who else can I meet with in the area? Last example that I'm going to bring up is an integration with a company that we're working on now called OpenTopic. And OpenTopic starts to bring cognitive analytics into the picture. So again, this slide deck will be made available to everybody, but for more information on Riva and our solutions, we've got a number of links that'll be in the deck that you can click on to go to. But ultimately, and we're going to end this right on the money at 4:45, Riva helps you connect the dots, right? Helps me get the data moved from email into CRM and back, helps me get those relationship insights that I'm looking for and be more effective at managing my customer relationships.